welcome to the Blue Line. Mike Tressa, Andrew Kalista alongside you. And Penn State still looking for that first win in Big Ten Conference play. They were on the road at Michigan State. The Spartans still winless in conference as well. But as we talked about last show, Michigan State really playing some good games against tough competition.
Yeah, the Spartans, they've already fought to a shootout win against Minnesota and Ohio State, proving that they belong amongst the elite teams in the Big Ten, something Penn State is still trying to claim.
And Penn State would get that chance Friday night, an early start, 6:30 against the Spartans, and Michigan State coming out to the ice on home ice at Munn, looking to take an early advantage. Points leader Jake Chelios snags the pass, fires in front, deflected by David Glenn. Matt Berry's second chance stopped by Matt Scopp. He had 13 saves in the first. Penn State 3-on-2, but Nate Jensen stopped by Butler, PA native Jake Hildebrand. He had a big game. Still in the first, Lee Reimer shoots. Scoff saves it, but right there in front, Dean Chelios sneaks around Connor Varley to get the rebound. 1-0. Take a look right off the glove of Scoff in front, unable to control it. That allows Chelios room to score. 1-0 advantage, same period. This time it's Eric Scheid trying to clear the puck, deflects it right to Greg Wolf, who flicks in the backhand. 2-0. That line doing big things for Sparty. As for Penn State, they couldn't do anything against Hildebrand. David Glenn, no on the shot. Then a breakaway. Great attempt for Jonathan Milley. Wide open, but unable to get it to go. Then Nate Jensen trying to go 5-hole, but blocked by Hildebrand. He made 48 saves. Penn State outshot the Spartans by 19, but unable to capitalize on any of their 3 power plays or score at all. Lee Reimer would add a late goal as the Reimer-Wolf-Chelios line all scored once in the 3-0 Game 1 shutout loss for the Lions.
The Nittany Lions looking to bounce back in Game 2 and earn a split at Munn like they did last year against the Spartans. Penn State's best showing this season, mostly in Game 2 of the series. Captain Tommy Olczyk looking over his team before the contest. Sparty, though, out fast. Michael Ferrantino beats McAdam with this backhander. Michigan State up 1-0 in the first 2 minutes of the game. Kenny Brooks trying to even it up, but Hildebrand once again denies him. Was phenomenal in the series. We go under 2 minutes in the first. Luke Juha takes his pass off the boards, give and go, and he's going to find Taylor Holstrom right there in front, and we are all squared at 1. Finally, Penn State able to celebrate as they get 1 past Hildebrand, and we're going to go into the second period. Penn State skated pretty well, had some momentum. However, Tanner Sorensen's going to beat McAdam right there on the short side as McAdam lost side of the puck. 2-1 Spartans. Once again, though, Penn State has to come back on the power play. We said they would have to score here. Juha from the point down to Scheid. Waited. You saw it, and then he beat Hildebrand top shelf to tie it at 2. Scheid's team leading 9th goal of the year. Could Penn State find a way to win this one up in Munn? Not tonight, as the centering pass goes through R.J. Boyd, gathers, finds Lee Reimer in front of the net. Mark Yanis couldn't backcheck him right there for your game winner. Spartans win 3-2. Once again close, but no cigar for the Lions.
And here are the stats from the series. Penn State was outscored 6-2, but outshot the Spartans by 18. Not able to convert those chances. Credit that to Hildebrand. Good for the Lions, though, killing the penalties and cutting theirs down. The 5 for 21 inflated by a 10-minute game misconduct by Mark Yanis. So Lions looking good in that area. Just need to get that scoring up.
Penn State 50th out of 59 teams in Division I hockey in scoring. That's something Guy Godowski talked about. He said they're working on, and that was his topic in this week's Sounding Off, presented by Ace Hardware, State College.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. It's something that we felt that we weren't doing a very good job of, and it's pretty much a staple of what we want our identity to be. But that being said, we have to do a much better job of creating traffic as well. So it's not just a matter of, I could run down a whole bunch of statistics for you on what shot totals mean towards wins, etc. So it is very important to us. It's how we want to play, but at the same time, we have to work really hard to get more traffic in front of the net and drive the net. And hopefully, as we work at getting to the net, it won't diminish our focus on shooting the puck.
Time to start to focus on the good, and that starts with our player of the week against the Spartans. That would be Luke Juha. The sophomore defenseman had 2 points in the Game 2 loss, assisting on each of the goals. He also blocked 3 shots in the series, now second on the team in points and also second on the team in blocks. And sticking with the good, Penn State did a very good job of what we talked about they needed to work on last week, which was penalties and eliminating those against the Spartans.
Yeah, for me, it was the ability to stay out of the box that really helped lead into my good from the series. Penn State was able to control the tempo against Michigan State for much of the game and dominate the neutral zone at times. Multiple times in this series, especially game one, they were able to hit on long passes and were able to create some odd man rushes. They just couldn't beat Hildebrand.
But with that, we have to go into the bad, and when you control the game and outshoot the opponent, there have to be some things that went wrong for the Lions, and for that, it was very clear what the number one bad was.
Yeah, Mike, we talked about it earlier. Turnovers, yes, they happen, but it's when they happen, which is the key. Neutral zone, along your blue line, and in your own zone, they will absolutely kill you. In game one, Penn State turned it over multiple times in their own zone. They got burned giving up the second goal, and they really could have given up 3.
Along with turnovers, Penn State really had a problem capitalizing on scoring chances. Besides out-shooting the Spartans, Penn State had some great chances on breakaways, especially in game one with Jonathan Milley having the best look. You have to give the credit to Hildebrand as you see him kick that shot attempt away, but Penn State is putting too many pucks on net without lighting the lamp and getting the scoring. Third worst team in the country in shot percentage. That is goals scored for all shots on goal, and that needs to change.
It's the return of a familiar foe from earlier in the season. As Boston College comes into Pagula, the Eagles had the Lions number out in Pittsburgh. We'll see what they need to do at home as the Blue Line rolls on.
Playing against Boston College, I mean, it doesn't really get any better than that.
Welcome back to the Blue Line. Fans were excited for the first meeting against Boston College. Now the Eagles are back. Penn State and Boston College played in Pittsburgh in the Three Rivers Classic, and Boston College has been flying high since then. They were ranked 7th when the teams met earlier this season. Now, thanks to a 5-0-1 mark since, Boston College is now ranked 2nd in the country.
Yeah, that fan nails it. I mean, it doesn't get any better than Boston College, one of the premier programs coming into your building. They're playing great hockey right now. The reason being, they're so dynamic on offense. They're the #1 scoring team in the nation. They have so many guys that could light the lamp. They move the puck. They're just fluid throughout the entire neutral zone. Really good team to watch.
And they're just coming off a 4-1 win this week over Merrimack. That pushes their record to 17-4-3, also gives them the top spot in the Hockey East Conference, and brings us to our J-Magi Mitsubishi matchup board between the Lions and the Eagles. And Andrew, what stands out here?
Mike, for me, it's got to be the goals. I mean, look at the difference between these two teams. It is night and day. Boston College with 109 goals after their 4-1 win over Merrimack. Since Jerry York paired Gaudreau with Kevin Hayes and Bill Arnold, they have been lights out and are clicking on all cylinders, and they can play multiple styles.
We'll get more of that offense in a little bit, but here's a look. Last time the teams met, it was in Pittsburgh. Penn State took a 1-0 lead thanks to Casey Bailey before Boston College scored back-to-back goals to end the first period. That deflated the Lions and set the Eagles off as they scored 6 more times, 3 from Destrae Strait to get an 8-2 championship win. Johnny Gaudreau was the MVP. He had a goal and an assist against the Lions, and Coach Godowski knows this offense will be trouble.
There was 2 things against when we played them the first time. They exploited. They have a lot of speed through the neutral zone. Like, they can be really dangerous. They make plays. Like, they really make plays at high speed. The puck moves at a very quick rate, and they're clean with it. Like, they can fire it cross ice and control it really well. They're a scary team. They really are.
Scary indeed, already with over 100 goals scored on the season. That's going to be a problem for Penn State, doing a better job of slowing down that attack and really stopping the Eagles from scoring goals. It's one of the things that Penn State needs to work on this week.
Yeah, and Boston College actually has so many weapons. A dozen players with 10 points or more. Against Penn State last time, Destrae Strait had a natural hat trick. He's the 6th leading scorer on a team. That's just crazy. But if you look at the tape, you can see that Penn State really got in trouble with their focus after that first goal by Ryan Fitzgerald on the power play. The Lions gave up another one 33 seconds later. That opened the floodgates. It killed Penn State's momentum. They need to come out with the same intensity like they did in Pittsburgh. If you remember, Matskoff was making good saves early on in that game, but after that second goal, the momentum swing at the end of the first, they need to control that momentum, and they need to ride the home crowd out to get a victory this Saturday.
And you talk about the weapons, and when you say that, you really got to focus on one guy who would be like the nuclear bomb of the team, and that's Johnny Gaudreau. He scored against the Lions already, and he's riding a ridiculous 19-game point streak, which he has 18 goals and 22 assists, good for an over 2 points per game average this season. He's the marquee player, but Godowski isn't changing the team defensive approach for just one guy.
Well, we're preparing the team. We're not looking at it as, hey, Dice, you got Johnny. He is extremely scary. He's not the only one. So we're approaching this as an opportunity to practice team defense and to test that against what I think is possibly maybe the most dangerous offense in the nation.
From Boston College's leading scorer to Penn State, Eric Stride had his team leading 9th goal of the season, and for that, he's a subject in this week's Player Profile.
We're here with redshirt sophomore Eric Stride. And Eric, you played at Alaska Anchorage before this. What's the transition been like coming to Penn State?
It's been really good. The school transition's been really nice. All the guys are really welcoming as coming in as a new guy, and the hockey's been going good so far.
And you've been really productive on offense. What's led to your productivity this year?
I think just playing my game. I think I'd like to pride myself in being a skill guy, so just trying to move the puck and capitalize on the scoring opportunities I get. And obviously my teammates around me have been really helpful in making it productive so far.
And you guys had a chance to play Boston College earlier at the Three Rivers Classic. What does that mean to you guys, having them come here and play at your home ice?
It means a lot. I think we all want another crack at them. Obviously it didn't go very well for us last time, so we're excited to see what kind of steps we've taken since the last time we played them, and it's just a matter of going out and playing our game and trying to dictate the play.
Thanks very much, Eric.
Thank you.
Back to you guys.
Thanks, Elise. When we come back, I sit down with StateCollege.com's Ben Jones for his thought on the season, and we also take a look at what the women are doing. Don't go anywhere. The Blue Line will be right back.
So I do hope that college hockey fans and the fans in this area really understand what a cool thing it is to have these programs come to our building.
Welcome back to the Blue Line. Joining me on set, a man who always has the pulse of the Penn State fan base, StateCollege.com, Ben Jones. Ben, thanks for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Glad to be here.
Ben, let's get right into it. Your thoughts on the season so far. You're at all the games. What's Penn State's problem right now?
I think it's really just been an interesting thing to watch them progress. Really, you think that the Penn State was a Division I team last year, but really this is the first season that they're playing all Division I opponents, some of the best teams in the nation every single week. So it's really been interesting to see how they're able to progress as a program and really stack up against some of these teams that have really been around for a long time. I think expectations-wise, they've met what people might have expected from them, but it's been interesting to watch.
Just heard Coach Godowski talking about the fans. Do you think maybe their expectations were a little bit overblown, and what has been their response to the team's success at times this season and then some of their struggles?
Well, I think fans have been pretty understanding. I think, we heard Godowski talk yesterday about how teams didn't always come out with their best lineups last year. Penn State fans didn't really know what to expect from the program. Penn State's opponents didn't really know what to expect from the program, and I think the fact that they were able to pick up some wins last year, maybe got people's expectations, sort of inflated that Penn State was going to be a nationally ranked program right away. But really realistically, I think most fans have understood that this is a work in progress, and when they win, they're excited, and when they lose, they understand that this is where they're going to be for a while, and it's only up from here.
Were you impressed with their comeback against Minnesota when just a week before they got blown out by Boston College out in Pittsburgh? For them to come up against the #1 team in the nation, do you really see them growing as the season has progressed?
Yeah, I think you definitely see a team that understands that they're going through a process and that every game is not going to make or break their season, that when you lose, you have to learn from that, and when you come close, you have to learn from that, and when you get blown out, you have to learn from that. So I think, most teams don't get an opportunity to play the top-ranked team in the country, so you come out and give them your best stuff, and I think it's a testament to their mentality as a squad and really the coaching staff's ability to get these guys refocused every week that they're able to go out there and, especially on the first night, almost pick up a victory.
You had an interesting question to Coach Godowski this week about the recruiting in college hockey. A lot of fans don't realize that you're just not taking high school kids like you would in football, and there's no star system. What can you tell us about how he answered that question with regards to how good are these players that are coming into Penn State?
Yeah, well, I think he touched on a good point, that really the major difference between football and hockey, and really football and most other sports, is the fact that the hockey players come from a lot of different levels. They can come from high school, they can come from juniors, they can come from overseas. There's a lot of different places that you can bring this talent in. So there's really no good way to grade them outside of trusting the coaching staff to know what they're looking for. So he's really saying we're looking for guys that can play as a team, the guys that can play together. Whereas in football you look for the 5-star recruit. There's not really a 5-star recruit in hockey. Certainly there are better players and worse players, but Coach Godowski said that they're really looking for those guys that can play as a cohesive unit, and I think that's why Penn State has maybe not been successful in the wins and losses column, but has been successful in terms of hanging with teams that have a lot more talent and have a lot more skill and have a lot more experience than them.
We've seen all the fan reactions. We've seen the great atmosphere in Pagula. Where could Penn State go, or the Penn State hockey program go, in terms of the hierarchy for the winter sports? Because you have wrestling winning national championships, basketball struggling a little bit right now as well. Can hockey jump up to maybe that #2 sport behind football?
Well, I think it'll be interesting to see. I think, someone actually asked that question about was he worried, so to speak, that hockey was going to take over one of the winter sports hierarchies, as you said. And really, I thought he made a good point that hockey is a niche sport the same way that wrestling is a niche sport in the same way that people like basketball. So I think, there's no doubt that Penn State hockey is going to be able to succeed and be one of those winter sports that people look forward to. But in terms of taking over a spot, so to speak, I don't know if that'll ever happen, but certainly Penn State hockey has the ability to be a nationally ranked program that brings out a lot of fans.
Ben, that's all the time we have for today. Thanks for being here.
Yep, thanks for having me.
Guys, you can catch all of Ben's articles at statecollege.com. Mike, what's going on with the women?
Thanks, guys. Time to take a look at the women who have been off the last week after beating Colgate last time out. Now 4-17-2. They travel to Syracuse this weekend to face the Orange and battled tough in the 2 previous games, losing by 1 in each, and took the Qs to overtime in the second loss. As the women's team comes along, credit the development of the young players, especially freshman forward Laura Bowman, who's now second on the team in goals scored and caught up with our Elise Murkowski in this week's player profile.
We're here with freshman forward Laura Bowman. And Laura, you guys had a week off to get ready for Syracuse. What have you guys done to kind of prepare for that match?
We've definitely been hitting the strength room really hard. We wanted to get strong on our week off, but we also made sure that we had time for breaks and relaxation and rejuvenating our bodies for the game this weekend.
And with your goal over Colgate, you've become the second leading scorer on the team. What's led to your success?
I've been really grateful for my line mates. Right now I'm with Amy Peterson and Hannah Hohenschel, and they're just great teammates to be on the ice with, and that they see the ice very well.
And you're a freshman coming from Minnesota, so it's a little bit of a trip. What's made the transition easiest coming into college?
Definitely just my teammates. The upperclassmen have been really welcoming into the team, and they included us right away, which is probably what made the transition the easiest.
Thanks very much, Laura. Back to you guys.
And don't go anywhere. When we return, we take a look around the Big Ten, and including a game out in the elements between Minnesota and Ohio State. The Blue Line will be right back.
And then when other teams, whether it's a Union, UMass Lowell, or Boston College, or anybody faces us, we are a Big Ten conference team. So it's a big difference from facing a team that's going to play a smattering of D1 games as well as D3 games and club games. We're thought of much, much, much differently this year. And
welcome back to the Blue Line. Penn State not off to the best start in the Big Ten so far. 0-6 in conference play, but really getting the best from all the opponents they've faced so far.
Yeah, that's what Coach Godowski was just talking about. It's a completely different attitude from their opponents that they faced last year compared to the opponents that they're facing this year. And Penn State, they're still able to come up with some close games and play really good hockey.
Yeah, and come up with some big plays as well. And we start with the big play as the Aaron's amazing save of the week from the past week. Game 2, a couple angles here as you see Eamon McAdam coming across the crease and making a great save, diving and stopping Thomas Ebbing's rebound. Good overhead view here. You see the puck loose. Ebbing has a chance, but gets the glove out there. McAdam and stops at one of his 29 saves in Game 2.
And the code crunch of the week goes to Ricky DeRosa, who got Brock Krieger right in front of the Penn State bench. You could see that got the guys up. Good technique. Avoids the penalty, always key on the big hits.
And Big Ten play this weekend, just 4 games in action. You know, Penn State in action against Michigan State, but there was a bigger game out in Minnesota between Minnesota and Ohio State. The Golden Gophers hosted the Buckeyes out in the TCF Banks football field. An awesome scene as you'd see the teams coming out to 6-degree weather for the City Hockey Classic. Fans packed the place, but the frozen weather affected the scoring.
As we look at the scoreboard, Minnesota got the W with the 1-0 win Friday. Then Sam Warning took over in Game 2 with a natural hat trick to lift the Gophers to a 4-2 win. Penn State, you know the deal, lost 3-0 Friday night, 3-2 on Saturday.
So the standings, Minnesota still on top, 7-0-1. Wisconsin, number 2. Michigan State, the big mover. They leapfrogged Michigan to take 3rd in the standings. The Idle Wolverines just ahead of Ohio State, and Penn State still at the bottom.
Busy weekend in the Big Ten this week. Starting tonight, Michigan and Michigan State playing at Joe Louis Arena in Detroit. Then Friday back in East Lansing. Ohio State with Friday and Saturday games at the Kohl Center against the Badgers. Minnesota in the North Star College Cup facing St. Cloud, Minnesota State, Minnesota Duluth in that as well, and Penn State with just a one game against the Eagles.
And for this week's Pegula Spotlight, we went inside the arena all the way into the equipment room, met up with equipment manager Graham Pepperman, and took a look at his day-to-day activities. Walking through the hallways of Pegula, we got to see where women's equipment manager Graham Pepperman spends his days helping prepare the Lions in their new den.
I have my own set of tools, which is really nice. A lot of places that have men's and women's teams, they're sharing space, and a lot of places I've seen don't even have a lot of the stuff that we have.
Pepperman has been with the women since they started, assisting with sticks, heating skates, and other locker room setups, but this time the focus was on sharpening skates.
But I already dressed the stone, and what I look for there is like full coverage. Basically that I know that the stone is hitting the steel top to bottom. So, and I'm good. This is the pass that people want to see. They want it to look nice and shiny and new. So, and that's it for that one. Just need to check it. Make sure it's level. Leather sharpens steel, right? So that's what this little thing is. Just to get rid of any burrs or anything left over. We're done. It's left up to the player. I mean, some people like them done once, twice a week. Some of the girls I see once a month, maybe. Obviously, the girls that play more shifts per game get their skates done more often.
This week on the Health South Nittany Valley Injury Board, no injuries to report, some broken bones, but that's hockey according to Gadowski. The men will have to be ready in full strength to come out facing a tough Boston College team. What's your key looking at one last look at this game ahead?
Wipe your memory clean. What happened out in Pittsburgh does not matter to what's going to take place Saturday night in Pegula.
And whatever happens Saturday, it'll be Saturday night at Pegula. The number 2 team in the country takes the ice at 7 o'clock against the Lions. That'll do it for this week's show. The Blue Line for Mike Tressa, Andrew Kalista. We'll see you guys next week.